There is a quiet secret buried beneath the gardens of history, something so simple yet so transformative that it has kept soils alive for centuries without the need for modern fertilizer. Long before synthetic products and packaged amendments filled shelves, farmers and gardeners relied on mulch not just as a cover but as a living shield, a slow feeder and a soil restorer. This wasn't the thin scattering of bark chips that many think of today. This was deep, purposeful, layered mulch. What some call ancient mulch. It's a practice almost forgotten in the age of convenience, yet it holds the key to soil that heals itself, breathes with life, and feeds plants naturally. If you've ever wondered why your soil dries too fast, compacts too easily, or refuses to hold fertility, then the answer may be as simple as returning to this forgotten method. And over the next few minutes, you'll see how ancient mulch works, why it has been lost in modern times, and how bringing it back can transform your garden into a thriving ecosystem. When old farmers and indigenous growers used mulch, it wasn't an afterthought tossed on top of soil. It was a deliberate strategy to mimic the forest floor. Think of a woodland path, layers of fallen leaves, twigs, and organic matter piling up year after year, breaking down slowly into rich, dark humus. That is the model ancient mulch followed. These early gardeners didn't strip away every leaf or stalk at the end of a harvest. They let crop residues fall, added cut grasses, straw, seaweed, wood chips, and even animal bedding on top of their fields. Each layer had a roll straw kept moisture in, leaves added minerals, sticks kept the pile aerated, and manures fueled microbial breakdown. Instead of one material doing all the work, it was the mixture that created balance. Over time, the layers softened, decomposed, and merged with the soil beneath, steadily improving fertility without disturbing the natural order. What made this so powerful was that mulch acted as both a shield and a slow-release fertilizer. It protected bare soil from harsh sun and pounding rain, preventing erosion. It invited worms, fungi, and bacteria to move upward, feeding on the organic matter while loosening the ground. And because it broke down gradually, nutrients seeped into the soil in small, steady doses, feeding plants all season long instead of flooding them with a quick burst. Modern gardening often overlooks the invisible workers beneath mulch, fungi, and microbes. Ancient mulch wasn't sterile, it was alive. When plant material decays slowly under a cover, fungi thrive, weaving networks through the layers. These fungal threads connect with plant roots, transporting minerals and water directly to them. This is why plants grown under deep natural mulch often look healthier and more resilient. They are literally plugged into a living support system. Another secret lies in how mulch manages soil temperature and moisture. In hot weather, mulch shields roots from the baking sun, keeping soils cool and preventing water from evaporating. In cold months, it insulates like a blanket, protecting soil life from freezing. These shifts mean soil organisms can remain active longer through the year, constantly working to improve structure and fertility. What they don't often tell you about mulch is that it is also one of the best ways to buffer soil pH naturally. Leaves from deciduous trees, for example, release calcium and magnesium as they break down, helping to counteract acidity in soils that have been depleted or compacted. Grasses and straw add carbon, feeding microbes that lock nutrients into stable organic matter. Layer after layer, ancient mulch did far more than suppress weeds. It healed soils from the inside out. So if ancient mulch was so effective, why did it fall out of use? The answer lies in the rise of modern agriculture. When chemical fertilizers became available, they offered something mulch could not: instant, measurable results. Farmers could pour on nitrogen and see crops green up almost overnight. The slower, subtler work of mulch seemed old-fashioned, even wasteful, compared to a bag of manufactured nutrients. At the same time, industrial farming focused on clean fields, stripped of debris, partly for aesthetics, and partly to make mechanized planting and harvesting easier. The idea of leaving thick organic matter on top of the soil was seen as messy or inefficient. Over decades, the knowledge of layering mulch as a living system faded into the background. Gardeners were left with thin decorative mulches that suppress weeds but offer little in terms of fertility or soil healing. The beauty of ancient mulch is that it doesn't require special products or expensive inputs. It only requires a shift in thinking, seeing organic debris not as waste to be hauled off but as a resource to be returned. In practice, this means layering what you already have. Leaves in the fall, grass clippings in the summer, straw after harvest, kitchen scraps or chipped branches from pruning. The goal is depth and diversity. A thin scattering of mulch dries out quickly and honestly does little for soil health. But, 4 to 6 inches of mixed materials begins to mimic the forest floor. Over time, the layers compress, darken, and transform into humus-rich soil. Worms pull the matter downward, fungi knit it together, and microbes break it into plant-available nutrients. The garden becomes a self-sustaining system where fertility rises year after year instead of declining. This approach works in raised beds, open fields, orchards, and even container gardens. Around fruit trees, deep mulch replicates the natural litter layer of a forest, feeding roots and conserving water. In vegetable beds, it prevents compaction and creates a friable texture that roots penetrate with ease. And because mulch is always breaking down, it invites you to keep adding more, creating a cycle of constant renewal. Gardeners who bring back this ancient approach often notice changes within a single season. Soil that once baked hard in the sun stays moist and crumbly. Crops grow more evenly, with fewer signs of stress during dry spells. The need for watering decreases and the reliance on outside fertilizers fades away. Over multiple seasons, the improvements become dramatic. Beds that were once exhausted begin producing abundantly. Acidic or compacted soils soften, balance, and come alive with worms and fungi. There is also a deeper satisfaction in knowing that the method not only grows food, but restores the land. Every time a gardener layers mulch, they are mimicking the cycles that built the most fertile soils on Earth: the forest floors, the grasslands, the riverbanks. Instead of stripping life from the soil, you are working with nature's blueprint to return it. The secret power of ancient mulch is not just in what it does for plants, but in what it teaches us about soil itself. Healthy soil is not a product you buy, it is a process you nurture. By covering and feeding the ground the way nature intended, you set in motion an underground partnership that no chemical can match. Worms, fungi, and microbes do the work for you, turning simple waste into living fertility. The soil heals, the plants flourish, and the garden becomes not just productive, but regenerative. If you are ready to take your garden to the next level, start layering your own mulch, not the thin, decorative kind, but the deep, living kind that has stood the test of time. The transformation may surprise you. For more soil healing secrets and regenerative garden methods, make sure you subscribe to Soil and Plant Doctor and share this with a fellow gardener who could benefit from reviving forgotten practices. Together, we can return to the wisdom of the past and build soils that feed us well into the future.